Hi, I'm Jason, and this is the Cultural Breakdown. So Nickmercs came out yesterday to talk about what happened with the whole Call of Duty thing, or at least his views on it since the last couple of weeks when he's been kind of absent from the internet, following his initial tweet and like his other little remarks since then. But for people who don't know, he basically said, leave children alone. Activision took that as an anti-LGBTQ position and decided we're going to pull his operator skin bundle from that. And as a result, people have been calling the boycott Call of Duty and saying that they're basically child groomers and predators because they're apparently against leaving children alone. But let's go over to his video and hear what he has to say for himself.
All the people that came to me privately, like DMs, phone calls, and texts, and it would always start with, hey man, can't publicly, go to bat for you, basically, is what they were saying. And I mean, I understand not wanting to be in the mess, because I mean, it gets a little bit crazy. I mean, I didn't want to be in it either, but at the same time, like, I stand by everything that I said. That's where I'm at, that's where I land. And towards the end of this, there had been so many people that were like, hit me up. I kind of began to get annoyed. I didn't want to hear it anymore. I mean, if you really feel this way, why don't you speak up? Why don't you say that you agree? Or why don't you say that you disagree? There's nothing wrong with conversation. How the fuck was that it's just, listen, these kids are very young. Can't they just go be kids?
So, I mean, I think that's a pretty innocuous statement. I mean, he's just saying, like, there's certain times and place for kids to learn things, and just to kind of leave it at that. Don't confuse them at an early age, which some people think that's the goal of it. But benefit of the doubt, I would say that these schools and things like that are not trying to confuse people, or confuse kids, but they're not really doing this in the right way. But the more interesting part, I think, is what he said earlier on when he was saying people were contacting him saying that they support him but don't want to come out. And listen, I get that. I'm not going to condemn people for not like basically standing up and taking a stand and basically putting a target on their back. I mean, you got Tim the Tap Man, Dr. Disrespect, that they basically stood up and made a scene about in favor of Nick. And as a result, people are going after them. But basically, I won't condemn someone for not taking a heroic stance. I will condemn the people who are coming out against him as a result of this, because that's basically taking a coward's approach where you're seeing like, oh, it looks like the big corporations are going against this guy, so I'm going to stand with them. That's not bravery. That's just fear, because you're taking the side of the big business versus the individual. But they might see it a different way, but that's how I see it, at least. And the thing is, I would be better off if more people did make a stand, but you can't ask people to put their livelihoods or maybe their family's livelihoods ahead of someone else. So I get it, but I mean, it would be better off that way, because then you won't get these major companies like Activision making these moves. But as a positive note, the boycott seems to be working against them. As you can see, their operator bundle that they released, or not their bundle, their season 4 pass released, and it's at 33. People tried to say like, well, it was number 1. Like, yeah, it just like barely hit that and then it immediately dropped. I mean, I don't think you're going to argue that that's how a good sale is it just touches number 1 and then drops like several dozen places after that. So, I mean, it does show that there is an effect that this is having on Activision, and whether they're actually hear this message or hear this warning is, I don't know, that remains to be seen. But in all honesty, I don't expect much from them afterwards. I think they pretty much are like, understand that this is their place now, and they care more about their ESG scores than they do actually turning a profit, which that's ultimately going to be to their detriment. But Call of Duty is still becoming, or they're still just kind of a lolcow right now. They're being ratioed every tweet that they still make with messages to leave the children alone. And I think that's just going to follow them around for a while in the midst to make some drastic change, which I don't expect. I mean, they're probably just going to continue with this, just trying to hope it blows over. But I mean, if audiences just make them a meme of the internet, well, then that's the reputation that they're going to have with them. And I think that's something that can actually follow them around for quite a while. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Are you on Nickmercs' side or not? And make sure to leave your comment below. Like and share the video, and to subscribe to the channel if you want to stay up to date with the latest news. Thank you.